AEW returns pay-per-view Saturday night with WrestleDream live from St. Louis, headlined by a culmination of a long, intense rivalry between Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. The latest chapter of their feud capped off a card that saw championships on the line, rivalry settled, and a $500,000 challenge. So yeah, a lot going on. And the show kicked off with a tag match as part of Saturday's tailgate brawl. FTR's Dax Harwood and Cash Reader battled Jet Speed in the latest chapter of their rivalry. The action picked up with an exchange of blows, followed by some aerial artistry from the babyfaces before the heels momentarily showed the pace. Bayley and Knight rolled again late, but the heels managed to steal the win in controversial fashion during the ire of the fans in the process. Yeah, a funny way to start the show, but I kind of enjoyed it. Good win for FTR, good way to get them on. I kind of like extending the pre-show if need be. So yeah, good stuff. As we then moved on to Jamie Hayter versus Thekla, and of course, long-running rivalry this. Hayter started fast, laying into the Toxic Spider, but Thekla seized control for a good portion of the bout, working over the neck of her opponent. The former women's champ fought her way back into the bout, defiant as she answered everything the heel threw her, only to wind up trapped in the octopus submission. Hayter broke the submission with a backbreaker, and moments later rocked her opponent with 2 lariats to score the win. After the match, Amanata celebrated with Hayter while Sky Blue and Julia Hart watched backstage. Intriguing, a decent match to kick things off, and I think the right decision to get the win. I think, yeah, good to see them on the pay-per-view. As we then moved on to Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks in a £500,000 match. A back and forth battle saw the babyfaces dominate the start, cutting their desperate heels off at every turn. The Bucks, they seized control, isolating Perry, cutting him off from his partner. Luchasaurus ultimately received the hot tag and exploded into the match, wearing out both opponents with his size and fury. The action descended into a wild, chaotic match defined by high spots and near falls, specifically after a Meltzer driver from both teams. A Doomsday device from Jurassic Express couldn't keep Bucks down as Matt and Nick fought for every dollar of the potential prize. Ultimately, though, the faces were driven by the money in their first victory over the heels, and were able to just achieve that. After the match, the victors offered their hands to the Bucks, only to be attacked by the Don Callis family, Josh Alexander, Lance Archer and Mark Davis. The Bucks walked out to the dismay of Kenny Omega, who made the save and stood tall with the winners. Yeah, a great match this. I think the right decision for Jurassic Express to get the win, a big win for them. And I thought the post-match angle was also really good too, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It was then Tornado Trios match with the Hurt Syndicate taking on the Demand. The months-long rivalry between these two teams came to a head as the two teams clashed in a Tornado Trios match in which all 6 combatants could battle at all times. Still, a pinfall submission had to take place inside the ring. The Demand controlled at one point, isolating MVP. It wasn't enough. The dominant Hurt Syndicate recovered, with Benjamin launching himself over the top rope and wiping out the heels at ringside at one point. Moments later, the artist formerly known as the Gold Standard pinned Khan to secure the win and end the rivalry. Yeah, an alright match. I'm not sure if it was quite, belonged on this pay-per-view for some of the matches we had, but for what we got, it was alright. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. As we then moved on to the TNT Championship match between Carl Fletcher and Mark Briscoe. Fletcher looking to continue his brilliant run. The Protestar had the opportunity to take the lead in their Series 3-2, while his ROH original saw his first championship in AEW. Back and forth saw that neither competitor gained a sustained upper hand. It featured the type of even battle one would expect from 2 stars who had done battle as many times as they had. Briscoe won caught the Froggy Bow on 3 different occasions late in the match, seeking to drive the fight out of his opponent, but was unable to keep the Aussie bad guy down. Everything Fletcher threw at his opponent, though Briscoe had an answer for, refusing to allow him to seize the upper hand. Down the stretch, Fletcher sent the challenger into the ref, delivered a low brain behind the brain buster. Briscoe kicked out a 2, a look of disbelief on his face. The champion sent Briscoe into the turnbuckle, then dragged him onto the top rope, delivered another bang buster, this one onto the turnbuckle, and finally secured the win and a successful title defence. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. A really, really good match, this one. I think probably the right decision for Fletcher to get the win, but at the same time, would love to see Briscoe get the gold at some point soon. So yeah, an interesting one. 7 out of 10. Next up, it was Chris Statlander taking on Toni Storm. After shocking the wrestling world, winning the title, she sought to prove it was not a one-night wonder against Storm. The defending title holder controlled the brawl early on, using her size and strength advantage. A momentary pause to acknowledge the crowd, although the former champion tried to make a comeback. It was short-lived though, as Stat continued her offense. A running hip attack and Storm's era allowed the challenger one more shot at fighting her way back into the match, but the champ popped right up later, delivered a basement dropkick and added an Arena 450 for a 2 count. Storm escaped the seatbelt pin and ended her title reign, but fell to prey to Saturday Night Fever. She tried for submission, but Storm refused to quit. She had no choice after a second Saturday Night Fever from Stat, who picked the winner. Show of respect from Storm further legitimised the champion in a new role in the face of the women's division, only for Mercedes Moné to interrupt and order her out of the ring. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This was Good stuff. A really good match here. I think Statlander really kind of proving herself, and of course an interesting angle coming up with Mercedes Moné, who was up next. Interim ROH Women's Champion Mina Shirakawa answered Mercedes Moné Open Challenge, putting her goal on the line for a shot at dethroning the CEO. Having lost to the heel back at Dynamite 300, she thought the win that eluded her and the opportunity to make history and rob Moné of it all at the same time. Shirakawa frustrated the champ early. Moné slowed things down, wrestled control of the mat for her opponent, and fired off her Odo to Eddie Guerrero and the three Amigo suplexes. The babyface got the knees out to prevent a frog splash though, and targeted the knees of her opponent, and she sought a submission victory. She delivered a glamorous driver but could not score a win, so she reverted to her plan for any outside the figure four. Moné fought out of it in time for reversals and counters to ensure each competitor closer to winning the match, leaving with all of the championship accolades. At one point the TBS champion delivered a moneymaker, but Shirakawa narrowly reached the ropes to break the pin. Such was not the case moments later when Moné stole the win with a backslide, draping her foot over the ropes for added leverage and the tainted victory. After the match, Stat re-emerged and laid the heel out, signifying a rivalry between them for potentially the two top prizes in the women's division, which I'm very interested in. So I'm going to say 6 out of 10. I'm very excited by that potential feud. We then got the World Tag Team Championship match between Brodido and Okada and Takeshita. There was simmering tension between the Don Callis family at the start of the match. The team operated like a well-oiled machine early, working over King into the hot tag to the reigning ROH World Champ Spark to come back and a babyface chance. The fight spilled to the floor with King delivering a crossbody to Okada that snapped a guardrail in half. Back in the ring though, the champs got a bit more ahead of themselves, attempting the Macarena only to be levelled by the challengers. Bandido sparked a second comeback, rocking Takeshita with a backfish. Action broke down from there, with each competitor hitting signature stuff, culminating with a shooting star press from the masked babyface Takeshita for another dramatic near fall. As we then got several minutes of chaos with escalation, action climaxing a four-way German suplex with left all four competitors down. Okada eventually finally delivered a rainmaker, but it was to Takeshita. The champions took advantage on Bandido, delivering a 21-gun suplex for the win. This was a really good match, and I have to say I'm not that shocked by the finish. I really thought we get a heel Okada here, and so it proved. Gives Takeshita the room as a babyface, and a very exciting feud between these two, and I think it's the right decision for the Brodido tag team reign to continue, and just on the whole a really good match. So great stuff. Then got Hangman Page versus Samoa Joe in the world title match, and it was easier said than done for Joe, who attacked Page with his trademark strikes and submissions, looking to make history with a second world title reign, punishing Page, pushing him to the brink of defeat, but failing to put him away. Showing toughness and resilience, the champ fought back into the match with a dead eye that nearly put Joe away. From there, Hangman flattened the challenger with a buckshot and scored the pinfall win. After the match, the Ops joined the combatants in the win. Just when it appeared, though, Joe was about to show Page the respect he earned, the heels flattened the champ, laying him down. Joe delivered a muscle buster to Page onto the World Championship, left with his teammates, and security medics checked on Hangman. I think an Ops heel turn is definitely intriguing, probably the right move as well, and it'd be interesting to see if we get another match between these two or what. But I think it's the right decision on the back of a decent match, 7 out of 10. As we then moved on to the I Quit match between two of the toughest, most unpredictable and dangerous competitors in AEW, Darby Allin and John Moxley. Shafir twice played a role in the match early, including moving Mox out of harm's way and leaving Allin to crash and burn during a coffin drop attempt on the ring apron. Mox punished his opponent with his own belt, whipping him relentlessly in an attempt to get him to utter the words at the end of the match. The defiant Allin dared his opponent to bring more pain and suffering his way, and the former world champion obliged. When Allin fired up, Mox cut him off to retain the upper hand. Mox answered light to Fury with a taser and trapped him in a bulldog choke with his Death Rider teammates, producing a pair of tables underneath the ring. Claudio hoisted Allin overhead and proceeded to gorilla press slam him from the ring all the way to the announce table. Mox added a Death Rider through the two tables set up at ringside as the commentary team wrote him off. From there, chance of this is murder rang from the stands as Mox attempted to drown his opponents in an aquarium. The arena darkened when the lights came back up. Sting stood between Mox with his trademark baseball bat. After smashing the aquarium and cleaning the Death Riders out, he tossed his former tag partner with the bat. Allin proceeds to finish it and delivered a Scorpion Death Drop and a Coffin Drop. Allin deployed the Scorpion Death Drop in the breaks of broken glass from the aquarium, and Moxley quit. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. This was a really brutal ball. We've seen matches like this before. It was excessive, like matches involving EC, but it played a long rivalry well. Hopefully be the final time we see them for a bit, and can really allow Allin to push on. I don't know what next for Moxley, but a very intriguing and brutal match to win the show. Like most AEW shows, WrestleDream was probably too long, 4.5 hours, and most like shows it features strong in-ring action, a red-hot crowd, and an angle or two that should produce stories and rivalries to keep things going, like Joe's heel turn, the reintroduction of Monet versus Stat, etc, etc. There was enough here to definitely keep us going, but I just felt like maybe the show went on a bit too long. 6 out of 10
for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.